high five.
Packers jumping around. They rush 4. Plenty of time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. LA can run. Inside the 10. Head first. He falls off the 5-yard line.
Manning out of the gun. Manning lets it fly. It's caught by Thomas. There's the record for Peyton Manning.
Rushing form, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground and still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line.
Here we go. First snap of the overtime. The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him free to the 30. To the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first.
My high five.
And welcome to. Is that how we're starting this out? Welcome to the show. Yeah.
That's
I'm Mundungus Creamy, joined by my co-host Glenn Hauser, Mr. Boggins, and Bree. And boy, do we have a huge episode for you today. Now, first things first, we are a fan-led Broncos-based podcast bringing you all sorts of Broncos-related craziness. Now, you are currently listening to the MHRT Podcast that airs every Tuesday at 7654 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Make sure you turn into our other podcasts, starting with Broncos Breakdown, the Bronco Bill, every Wednesday, 7654. The Nothing Rhymes Orange and Blue podcast that airs every Thursday at 7654. And make sure to check out our brand new video series, Rough Draft, where Isaiah breaks down potential draft picks for the Denver Broncos. Now, I know everybody's here for Graham Glasgow, and I promise he's coming. He's going to be here in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
I thought everyone was here for me.
Well, obviously.
what I heard. Yeah.
But other than that.
Well, for 20 minutes, and then they
In
they
20
shift
minutes,
it.
and Bree's leaving, and then we have to replace it with someone else that'll make him watch.
I'm ready to just get right into it, but he's not here yet. I'm sad. So there has been a little bit of new. I mean, not too much. Like obviously with the Aaron Rodgers thing that hasn't been decided yet. Stupid. I was in there, ready at Pat McAfee for Rodgers to be on there to make his announcement, and nothing.
You literally hung up on me.
I did. I was like,
We were on the phone.
Come on, guys. I've been saying this for a while now. Aaron Rodgers maybe he was testing that market. Maybe he was dipping his toes in, but I had very little stock in the game that he was going to go anywhere. I will say that I did open up YouTube to see what the counter was, but I was not giving views to the Pat McAfee show, and that's nothing against Pat, nothing against Aaron, but I knew a decision was not coming last Tuesday. And it's looking like the Denver Broncos are in a world of hurt right now. And I, as a member of Broncos country, a proud member of Broncos country Twitter, they've been having a lot to say, and they never seem to have shut up. So what my big question is here is, were you guys surprised that it ended up here? Did you have a lot of faith and hope in Aaron Rodgers possibly becoming a Denver Bronco? Or was it more like, yeah, it would be great, but I don't see it happening?
I think it's more of a denial thing, right? where like it's what I would want. However, I mean, we knew it was going to be just dragged out, right? At least he's subtly doing it. He's not like LeBron Jamesing it and making like an HBO Max special announcement. But I mean, yeah, I wasn't like necessarily surprised when I heard that it's probably not going to happen, but I think out of denial, I was like, it maybe still will happen, and maybe he will be my friend, you know. But I mean, because now we're looking at gosh, what else is there? Like Russ, is that really going to happen? Like,
Nope.
Yeah, it's like I'm gotta hope we're not swinging for Garoppolo. Cousins is staying. It's just like I don't want to say a crapshoot, but let's just say it's going to be a middle of the pack potential quarterback year. Hopefully middle of the pack. I'm hoping for at least middle of the pack
Well, Boggins, you have that in Teddy Bridgewater.
That's true. That's true.
So if you think about the available quarterbacks that are out there, you're looking at Wentz, Garoppolo, Winston, Gardner Minshew, Trubisky, which are all the varying shades of vanilla, and you'll hear me use that all week. This is the culmination of a league that, appreciates their elite quarterbacks, and their middlers are going to be middlers. They're not going to give you an appreciable difference over what the cost-effective current quarterback the Denver Broncos have on their roster, which is in Drew Lock. And I know that a lot of Broncos country groans and tosses their head back when they hear that name. But unfortunately, what you're looking at is a very cost-effective, not have to reach. You don't have to pay $40 million for a middle-tier quarterback to continue to play the game with a high-level roster. Unfortunately, a bridge or a veteran hedge is not going to be the best choice possible for the Denver Broncos. What would have been nice is to get QBA or QBB, but even then, it doesn't guarantee you a Super Bowl win. So you have to consider what's best for business. And I think right now you have to understand that what you have, we should trade for Jake Delhomme. All right, KB82, wow. You're all over it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I did throw up in my mouth a little bit during that whole entire spiel. Don't like it. But that's where we are. That's where we are. And that's where we're going to be until 2023 when the good QBs come.
Well, and I guess my question for you, and I like, it's all over Twitter, like, oh, it's Drew Lock year, he's going to start. My question for you is, George Paton has said all along that they will go after a quarterback that upgrades the quarterback room. So if Denver is in on, say, Mariota or Trubisky, how does that play into what they think about Drew Lock if they're going after those types of quarterbacks?
But he also did say today when interviewed about multiple QB not prospects, but like options, free agency options. And he said, I wouldn't say multiple. And then he kind of went on and then like started talking about Teddy Bridgewater and how much he's like, you guys know I love Teddy and blah, blah, blah. And that really worried me. that really worried me. Cause I'm at a point where and
that goes back into the question of if they're willing to roll it again with Teddy Bridgewater, what does the front office think of, and the new coaching staff think of Drew Lock? I mean, are we literally going to go into a season with another Teddy Bridgewater? Or do they actually have faith and belief in Drew Lock? And it's not a knock on him. I'm asking the question, if they're willing to go after Mariota or Trubisky, how much faith do they have in Drew Lock as a starter?
I think that would answer your question if they do end up going that route. And that remains to be seen. I think a lot of what George Paton has said has been specifically targeted and not upsetting the guys who are currently on their roster. Once Teddy Bridgewater is a true free agent, which free agency period is upon us, we'll see whether or not they choose to retain him at his current contract level and what he's been requesting. But are Mariota and Trubisky a marked improvement over what you would see out of Drew Lock? I don't know if you can say that with like a sense of security in the statement. Yep. Yes. Do I honestly understand where people are coming from when they say they want to see something different? What cannot be neglected, and we'd be remiss not to mention, is that Drew Lock was trending in an upward pattern and was playing better when he was starting, and he won that quarterback competition, whether you want to agree or not. He was the front runner. The coaches wanted Teddy Bridgewater, and here we are still fighting about it 365 days later. So to me, I think there's still a little bit of hope, and some people call it blind faith, is basically, what does he still have left to become? What growth can there be? And can he get over the hump of all the mistakes that he tends to make a game in and game out? So yeah, do I think that they could go in that direction? That would tell you markedly, that would just expressly tell you they're not a fan of Drew Lock and what he brings to the game. Do I think Hackett will dismiss him entirely? No, you have to think whether or not the team retains Rippon. I love Rip. I think that he is a great addition to the QB room, but I think you're looking at Lock and a draft prospect somewhere in a lower round than in a number 9 pick to come in with Drew Lock. And this year might not be the marquee year that all the fans are hoping for.
I can't imagine that Teddy Bridgewater
Hall of Famer.
What's that, Mike?
I said Brett Ripp in the future should have been Hall of Famer.
Yeah, exactly. The Bridgewater thing, I never even considered that he would be back until his name was even mentioned today. I still don't think that it's a viable option. What do you think of? And I asked this with the disclaimer of he's an extremely unlikable person, but what do you think of Carson Wentz? I mean, wouldn't you see him as an upgrade over Drew Lock?
I think it would be a slight upgrade. Like if any, I don't think it's worth it. Like you have a guy who got to play with Frank Reich in Philly, was like 2017, I believe, pretty much was going to be MVP, and then he got injured.
Yeah.
Won a Super Bowl over there. I mean, out of default, he wasn't playing, but like that city potentially loved him. Booted out of there into the Colts, where he gets to go back with Frank Reich. Now, Frank Reich, who is like buddy, if you guys got to see like the Hard Knocks and stuff, like him and Frank Reich, like they loved each other. Out of there. So something is not necessarily cohesive with whoever he seems to be on a team with. So that would be my worry. Also, his play would be my worry. Also, the cost would be my worry, depending on if they get to release him or not. Like if they trade him, just try to get something out of him. I probably wouldn't want to pay it unless it's like a fifth, but it's not going to be a fifth. So
I like the way that McAfee put it. It's like, with Wentz back behind center, every time he gets the ball, you don't know whether he's going to die.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of play that I like. You can't deny the talent, but he just puts himself in situations where it's like, whoa, calm down.
In Indy too, like their line is not bad. So it's, I don't know.
Cody Sims says, if Aaron Rodgers signs with Green Bay and our coach likes Jordan Love, what draft pick would you trade to get him, third or fourth? There's the problems to compete with Locke. Would you give up a third or fourth to get Jordan Love?
I don't know. Glenn, you want to take this?
Oh, I don't think Hackett likes Jordan Love at all. I think they realized very quickly that it was a massive mistake I mean, everything went south for Green Bay when the way they handled that whole situation. Not only adding him to the roster, not giving Rodgers a heads up that they were trading up to draft his replacement years ahead of his prime being over, but just not even adding a weapon in that spot. So I can't imagine that Nathaniel Hackett's going to bring Jordan Love to the Broncos, regardless of what the price would be.
I think that you're going to see the same questions that you do with a Drew Lock. I see EJ's comment in the chat. Will the Broncos ever draft a QB that can play? I think you have to. Jokes aside, I think you also have to consider offensive schemes and especially systems that don't work with a upcoming quarterback. You had a very old school system in Vic Fangio, and I think that building up draft picks is really important to note as well, that maybe possibly the draft pick is not the issue. It's the system in which they're put into that is not adaptable to their skills of play. So although I do agree there have been some whiffs at quarterback in the draft, I think that's a broad statement, and I think that it generalizes too much for what we've seen.
I don't even know if we hope at this point that like Locke is like if Locke starts this year, like I do think he would improve. I definitely think he would be better in the system. Although from what it sounds like, Hackett has a lot of different very long play calls. So that his processing has been something that's been in question in the past. And so that would make me curious. However, if I do think he would potentially play better, but in a contract year, if he plays well 1 year, then what? Like, are we extending him, and what's that going to cost at market? So now you're kind of like really worried. Like, are we going to pay this dude? And then we have to think about it like down the road. Or are you going to start then you get into a real salary cap talk of how you're going to structure this to kind of have yourself an out if need be, or I don't know. Not that I'm saying I hope he plays bad, because I hope we have the QB of the future, but if he plays well 1 year, it's going to be very interesting to sign that.
Well, I have a question in regards to that then. If you think about the other gunslinger that's in the AFC West division and Mahomes, Kansas, and I'm stealing this from a conversation I literally had a couple hours ago, is they have a pretty simplified offense for Patrick Mahomes to ensure that he's able to use his kind of raw talent and arm strength to be able to be efficient. They've got a long route, a middle route, and a short route for him to dump it off. And that's where you see a lot of his success coming from, is just keeping it simple in the play calling. So why and how could that not also be beneficial for another QB on the Denver Broncos roster who has the raw skills and isn't able to or hasn't been able to pick up the last two offensive systems? So is that too much of a comparison? I'm not trying to say Drew Lock is Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying if you give Drew Lock the potential to succeed and you don't have an offensive coordinator who specifically very much so did not like him, could you see more improvement there? I think the human element comes into play.
I mean, I think you almost have to look at how much damage has already been done. More than like what can he achieve is more like what damage has already been done by the systems and the coaches that he's been with over the last 3 seasons. Now, obviously, he can get better depending on the coach and scheme. I mean, you saw that with when Tannehill left Miami to go to Tennessee. But I think we've got to temper our expectations for how good he can be and how good he actually will be based on the amount of damage that was done in the last 3 seasons.
You know, that's fair, Mike, but with the old coaches being completely out of the way and with an offensive coach coming in, a guy who is a proven stud as a play caller and as an offensive coordinator, I think, I would think that the Lock's shoulders are probably lower about 3 inches after that move was made. So I'm not too worried about the damage. What the damage was done. I want him to succeed. I haven't seen enough in the last couple of years that gives me the optimism that we're going to be able to keep up with the other teams in our division if it's Drew Lock behind the center. So
yeah. Okay, so let's go with Broncos breakdown, which is Bronco Bill. Says he wants to know why Elway is the outside consultant to Peyton. I mean, that was kind of the plan the whole year, right? Was to him at the end of the season, his contract is up, he takes the back seat, and obviously he's pushing for ownership. So, I mean, that was kind of the plan, wasn't it?
Waning it off. He's not like super influential. Like Peyton has already mentioned that he's pretty much doing the same role that he's been doing the last like year, essentially, just like with a lesser of like consultant is the closest title a job can give you before like retirement. Right? You're barely in it. You're like, I'll consult, but I'm not really like Fangio, who had potential other job offers, and people were mentioning whether or not he just wanted to consult because he's like, do I want to be in it right now, or do I not want to be in it right now? That's kind of what this feels like. He's on his way out. He still loves the Broncos. He still wants to be involved with the Broncos. Peyton is still new to being a GM. Might, use him as a sounding board for certain things just to get his opinion on some stuff. But like, this is Peyton's team. It's not even John Elway is. It's like, I'll answer the phone, but like only between this time and this time. Otherwise, I'll be tanning outside. Riding
I picture him returning the text like hopping in the golf cart from the 8th green to the 9th tee.
Now I did have 3 other topics I want to talk about that could potentially deal with the Broncos. Number 1 is the Giants general manager says he's open to anything, including trading Saquon Barkley.
No.
Okay,
no.
I figured I'd bring it up.
No.
The Jags are also shopping actively the number 1 pick.
What would we take?
Makes sense. Yeah, but I wouldn't.
I don't know. Like, is there anyone worth going up for the number 1 pick for the Broncos?
If you're looking at an outside linebacker,
anybody, quarterback, edge, outside, anybody. Is there anybody in the draft that would be worth Denver moving up to the number 1 pick?
The only one that you would consider, or the only ones that you would consider, are debatable, and it's already deep at that position, so it's not really like, I mean, Some people have thought that maybe Evan Neal would go number 1 overall, but like,
I've heard
are
Hutchinson.
you really jumping all the way up for Evan Neal? Like, I don't think you are. So I just don't see why they wouldn't just stay at 9 or, yeah, I would say 9. I'd stay at 9. I don't see any reason especially jumping up to 1. I don't even know how many points that is. How many points is like 1,000 points to move up from 9 to 1? I don't know what the actual, it's a lot.
I mean, think about this. The Lions intentionally won a game at the at the end to knock themselves out of the first pick. So how great is that number 1 pick this year?
That's the thing though. I was talking about this like a while ago, is that there's no one that would want to trade up in this draft. Like, you don't see, because usually when you trade up for a quarterback. Mm-hmm. There are no quarterbacks that anybody's like, oh my God, like a Trevor Lawrence. There's none of that. So, I mean, I don't even know the last time someone traded up into the top 10, let alone the first overall pick for a pass rusher.
Right.
Or any other position outside.
And I know I've heard 2 quarterbacks potentially that could be in the top 10. One would be Kenny Pickett. And then there was I want to say it was the Steelers or somebody traded up into the first round ahead of Denver and picked Corral.
Oh,
no, Corral.
Oh, I thought Malik Willis.
No, it would be if they trade, it would be for Malik Willis.
Malik Willis.
They've been tied to him quite a bit, but I would. Sure. Yeah. It's just a rough draft for QBs. A lot of not sure's. Even more than a normal draft.
Yeah. Now another name that's been brought up as far as quarterbacks go, the Falcons are not committing to starting Matt Ryan.
Didn't see that.
And I've been saying Matt Ryan was probably my top pick, and then everyone told me it wasn't going to happen. Now we hear that maybe it's a potential again. So that's just
what's his contract though?
Isn't it like a $46 million cap hit for Matt Ryan?
46 or 48. I mean, it's
right. So, but I think that he would be a little bit better than Cousins. So that's where all of those contracts start to escape the realm of what's really effective for this Broncos team, who's not in a go all in situation. I don't believe they're just a quarterback away from winning any titles, but it's interesting to me because Matt Ryan would have been my first choice, but not for that price. All of those guys are not for that price.
If you trade him post June 1st, it's still $25 million dead cap for them. And it would be like a 24 mil cap hit for us.
And what do you think it would cost in terms of picks to get him?
Oh, that's 37 years old.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think that Denver would be willing to pick up some of their dead money hit or no?
Not for what we probably have to give in draft capital. Like probably at least one. Oh gosh, that's a good one. I don't know. I would probably say at least 1.
Oof. Oh gosh.
Maybe a 2. I don't know. It just, I guess it depends on, I don't even know how to value that because of his age, but he is Matt Ryan. He's productive. So I don't know.
That's the thing you have to start thinking about. And I'm going to keep kicking the dead horse because if you're willing to do that, what is the increased difference and efficiency you're going to see on the offense with this Hackett scheme that you'd be willing to do that? I wouldn't be willing to. I just don't. You couldn't convince me. None of that seems exciting.
No, I wouldn't. And he's also like essentially immobile. So like you'd want a line where you could protect him a little bit. Like, I mean, we haven't like average O-line, Graham Glasgow being the best out of any of them, just the best overall, best offensive lineman we've ever had. So yeah, I don't know. I just wouldn't want to pay that. I just wouldn't want to pay that from Matt Ryan.
So we have the 9th pick. Are we making that pick? Or where are the Broncos drafting? Are we even drafting in the first round? What do you think?
I think if they do, they move back a little bit. You can definitely check out Friday's episode with the Let's Talk Broncos podcast where Zach Seegers, Joey Richards, and Patrick Chiotti actually go over what they're looking for in the draft, and that's a draft special episode. But what I'm thinking is no, I don't know if they select at 9. You'd have to have a lot of wherewithal to just say, 9 is where I'm going to use this pick. I can't honestly see the Denver Broncos taking a cornerback at 9 again for the second year in a row, but there's the old saying that you can never have too many, and we know how often that position gets injured. So do you see them targeting one of those highly coveted members of the secondary? I think that's the only way I think it makes sense. Obviously, this is a very edge strong and edge heavy class that I think you could see them potentially targeting. 9 still seems pretty steep for anything but a QB or a Pat Surtain to me.
I mean, I honestly think they probably, I mean, what it's been talked about is George Payton likes to do, and he did it last year as well, is like draft high, like the first couple rounds, with whether or not it's like for the first and then the second even trading up again. And then he kind of like he trades back. Like he doesn't use the middle a lot. So I could definitely see them using the number 9 overall pick. I think it's really though a toss up between edge, cornerback, and tackle, depending on who's there. Like I want to say that we would pick a cornerback first, just because of how deep this edge class is. And maybe you could get a Ahmad Bradshaw, which would be really good to have paired up like on the outside with Patrick Surtain, and then you got like pretty much like a Champ Bailey on one side and like a Aqib Talib on the other. I wouldn't mind that, and then get an edge down the road like a Mafi or something like that. But I definitely see them. Using the 9th pick.
All right, guys. Well, I don't want to cut you off, but I do, because you're less important than the person I'm getting ready to bring on the show.
Santa?
He is currently the starting right guard for the Denver Broncos, and an up-and-comer that I am subscribed to in the Twitch live streaming gaming world. Ladies and gentlemen, Graham Glasgow.
Let's go! Woo!
How's it
How's it going, fellas? What's up? And
welcome.
lady. Fellas and ladies.
Yeah. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, lady.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Dude, what are you wearing? That looks so cozy.
It's actually called the Comfy, and my grandma would get me one every year for Christmas. So this past year I got all the guys on the O-line one for Christmas too.
Is that like a Snuggie type thing?
Kind of. I mean, but for me it almost looks like a sweater of some sort. You know what I mean? But they're but on normal people they're not like this.
Yep, I work with a guy that has that exact thing, and it looks completely normal on him, but to everyone else, it's they're swimming in it.
Yeah.
So we obviously all have some questions for you. We've got some people in the chat that got questions for you, but I want to start it off with an easy one. How is the ankle?
It's doing a lot better. I mean, like it took me about 8 weeks after surgery before I was able to put any pressure on it, just to let like the ligaments and stuff heal. But after that, things have been looking up and been going really well.
Anybody that wants to jump in?
No, so Graham, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. So with the combine going on right now, I wanted to see if you could tap into your memories of what really stood out with your experience in 2016 that week.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was talking about this earlier on my stream, but basically I told everybody about how awful the combine is and how nobody likes it because I was in the early group, so they take like the first 20 guys, right? There's like 60 linemen there a year, so like they break you up usually in a couple groups. And so I was in the early group. I would have to wake up super early every day, but then at nighttime, and you go through everything throughout the day. And then at nighttime, usually you're talking to the coaches, or you have meetings with like the GMs, or your private meetings, or you're at the train station talking to the coaches and whatnot. And before you know it, it's like midnight. And you're like, I have to get up at like 5:30, 6 a.m. tomorrow. So then, I mean, over like 3 days, I think I might have got like 15 hours of sleep over 3 nights, I'm saying. And one of those days is like a drug test day. You got to wake up at like 4:45 in the morning and do a drug test.
Jeez.
I just hope to God you don't forget your ID, because by the time you go back up to your room and go get your ID, there's like another 30 people in line.
Jiminy Christmas. It sounds great.
Yeah,
sounds
and then on the last day, after you've been sleep depriving yourself for however many days, you have to go and do the on the field stuff. And I mean, that's why, I feel like if you can if you can run well and do well at the combine, I think that's it's impressive. You know, I mean, because you've gone through 3 days of just borderline hell, no lie.
So,
But
what was the goofiest question you may have been asked during the interviews?
I had one coach ask me what his name was at the end of an interview, and I didn't remember, so I called him Coach. He said,
Coach works, right?
Your name's
Man,
Coach.
Genius.
Genius
Question.
And I mean, this is after you've talked to like maybe 20 coaches already, so it didn't go. I mean, that one, everything up until that point went well. It did not. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
You were adaptable. That's all that matters. You were quick thinking on your feet. Graham, on March 18th, 2020, almost coming up on the 2-year anniversary of when you tweeted out about your excitement for joining the Broncos, giving your all to the city of Denver. What have you grown to love the most about living in Colorado and playing football here?
I think that the altitude itself is pretty cool. I mean, I didn't really like it that first year, considering we didn't really have camp. But I mean, I feel like when a lot of teams come and play here, they don't really. I mean, the teams who play here every year, like maybe the AFC West kind of get it, but I feel like a lot of people kind of forget about or don't really understand how tired you end up being, and that's something that I've come to appreciate.
I think it probably bears pretty well for you if you go back home and have a little fun sibling rivalry. Are there any fun pickup games you guys have when you get together? Are you guys talk any ball or get to roughhouse around anymore?
We'll talk ball, but we don't ever. I mean, we fought enough when we were little. There's been broken bones, hurt feelings, so on and so forth. But like I mean, it's all pretty civil now. But I think the extent of anything that we do in regards to pickup games would probably just be we usually try to play video games together. That's kind of how we keep in contact and keep in touch. But other than that, that's about it.
Speaking of pickup games, you played basketball back at Marmion. How do you pronounce it? Marmion High School.
Marmion. It's said like it looks like it should be said. Marmion.
Okay, Marmion makes sense. I just can't read sometimes. You ever have that happen? Sometimes you can't read. That's right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, you get through a long season. I look at a book; it almost looks like it's in a different language, right?
Absolutely.
You practice the name for weeks, and then it's like,
yeah. Absolutely. So did you ever think about playing ball continually, like maybe like NBA? I mean, you were averaging 3.4 rebounds a game, man.
It was more than that. Give me a break.
That's what the internet says.
The internet is lying to you.
Okay. All right. I'll call.
Did you find that on Wikipedia?
I would miss at least 4 layups a game that I would then get my own rebound to. So I know that's a lie.
You can't count those. I've heard you can't count those.
Yeah, well, no, you can. That's an offensive rebound. That's a board.
Okay.
Wait, what was the question? Oh no, I didn't want to go play. I didn't want to know.
It was always football.
No, it wasn't. I really did enjoy basketball, but I mean, I'm tall, but I'm not 7 feet tall. I don't think that was going to work out for me. I didn't have the skill set to play point guard or handle the ball or anything like that. But I loved playing basketball. I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Were you not the tallest guy in your class in high school?
I was, but I'm just saying I don't think I'd make it to the NBA.
No.
As a 6'6" center.
Michael Jordan was 6'6", and I'm pretty sure you could probably you're athletic enough. You could probably jump for the free throw line. I feel like
I was thinking more 3-point line, but maybe the college one, not the pro one.
All right.
Twice you're selling him short, Boggins.
I know that should have been a combine.
Welcome to the show.
That should have been a combine question. Can you jump from the 3-point line?
So, Graham, while Mike's pulling up a question, I want to ask you: have you had the opportunity to meet Coach Hackett and Coach Barry yet? And what's your first impression of the staff?
I got to meet Coach Hackett, Coach Barry, and Jo. I thought they all were super nice. They were. I mean, it was like after a day of rehab, and I went on up there and said hello. And I mean, I thought that they were all very welcoming. And I mean, I was just trying to welcome them, but they were kind of welcoming to me. I'm like, I kind of been here for a little bit. I mean, I'm just trying to come up here and say what's up and make ssure that you guys are feeling at home. But they seem like they're really good dudes, and I'm looking forward to working with them.
Awesome.
So we've got KV82 coming in saying, Graham, I know the linemen are crazy strong, but what D lineman has set themselves apart from the others?
I think the answer to that is easy, in my opinion. I think that Aaron Donald is like the best. I think he's borderline one of the best defensive players of all time, if not the best player in the NFL currently. So that's just my opinion, though. But I mean, I think he's incredibly good.
And it's not even fair that he's with Vaughn now, huh? Too. It's just like a monstrosity defensive line.
Yeah, no, I mean, if he's not going to beat you, or he pushes the quarterback out, then I mean, it's just everybody benefits from having him around. So, I mean, on both sides, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of crazy pass rushes, do you think Michigan's going to go to the Natty next year without Ajabo and Aiden Hutchinson? They got Harbaugh back.
I know they do. I'd like to say, you know what? I've said no for so long. I'll just say yes. I'll be optimistic and I'll say yes.
Okay.
Just over the years, I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, in 2016, I thought they could have did it, but they the JT. I mean, you guys aren't Michigan people, I think.
No.
Nebraska.
There was the Ohio State game where if they would have beat Ohio State, they would have won the Big Ten championship. They could have won that, went to the national championship. I thought that was a better team than they had last year, but I mean, anything can happen. Just depends on how you play, or on any given Saturday, I guess.
So since we're talking about Michigan, on November 27th of last year, who was the first person you called or texted after Michigan destroyed Ohio State?
I think I was just tweeting about it, and I was being a bad sport about it too. Garrett was calling me during the game, if I remember correctly, and he was pretty pumped about the whole thing. But I mean, overall, I think it was just everybody that followed me on Twitter got to see how I was feeling about it.
Bronco Bill says, Graham, when did you know that you wanted to be a football player, and what position did you want to play?
Well, like a professional football player or like a college football player?
I think just football in general.
Yeah.
I would say it was probably like my junior or senior year of high school. Like I didn't really want to play football growing up, like in the sense of like I couldn't have seen myself being. Well, that's actually not true. I mean, at recess, I like to throw the ball. I used to think I'd be the next Big Ben. That didn't work out for me.
Still a chance.
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes to show up to their first day of football and be told, "Hey, you're too fat to play a skill position. You need to go to the line." I'm sure a lot of people hold that day, and like it's like a RIP, like hopes and dreams, under there. But outside of that, like in high school, I'd say like my junior and senior year, I thought that I could go and play good football and be good offensive lineman. I played left tackle at the time, but once I got to Michigan, I was like, okay, well, I think I'd do better at guard or center, and that's just kind of how it worked out.
Yeah. So I've got some questions for you. It's going to be kind of like a yearbook questionnaire about you and your teammates, the people that are on the Broncos. So it's going to be like, who on the team is the class clown?
Class clown. Before he left, I would have said Vaughn, but I think that Garrett is pretty goofy. I think that you can find him. I don't think I need to explain it. Garrett.
Do you think he needs to like narrate an audiobook or something with that voice?
Ooh, Garrett or mine?
Yeah, Garrett.
I think that Garrett could possibly do like a stand-in for like not how there's like stunt doubles. Garrett could be like a voice double for like Morgan Freeman if he just practiced the accent. He has the deepness of voice there, but I feel like he could do it. But
Mr. Freeman's got a scratchy voice today. Put in the bowls.
Yeah, put in Garrett.
Who is the life of the party?
I would probably say Kareem Jackson.
Oh,
okay.
I missed the K-Jack TV.
Yeah,
most likely to drop his phone in the toilet.
What?
I thought that was a funny question. That's why I put that in there.
I know how that would happen.
I'm trying to think.
Picturing it now in my head, and I don't want to. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a lot of ways where it could happen. There's not a lot. There might be like 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
But I'm thinking it would be somebody that, shit. Am I allowed to say shit on this? I'm sorry.
Well,
You can
you did
now.
so
Yeah, you can now.
All right, I'll say Garrett again, but I feel like he'll be on the phone with his wife, and then he'll like forget he had like the phone like in his like his on his shoulder while he was like wiping, and then it just
in his nape.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Most likely to survive the Hunger Games.
I think Josie Jewell.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Could see that.
Biggest prankster.
Dalton.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Dalton likes to. I mean, I'm not gonna swear again, but Dalton likes to mess with like the guys. He likes to go and he'll go up and you'll be lifting, and then he'll he'll go and say like, "Oh, hey Lauren, like Graham was saying that blah blah blah," like some shit that like you didn't say, and like basically just bad about Lauren.
Yeah.
And everyone's, I mean, at this point in time, everyone's like, just Dalton, give it a rest. I mean, like we know, everybody knows it's a joke, but like he does like to do that.
As Lauren's putting more plates on
Yeah, and Dalton's stuff.
I was worried you were gonna say like he tickles you while you're benching. It's like that's just kind of like next level, like a Winston from New Girl, kind of like too much or too little. That would have been.
I think he doesn't really do like. Well, now that I think about it, no, I don't think he does a ton of like physical stuff, but it's all just like, basically what I said of like he's like, oh yeah, Graham was like talking shit about you, and then it's like I wasn't. Nobody was talking shit, but continue.
Yeah, fair enough.
Most likely to star in their own reality show.
Their own reality show. I feel like it would have to be somebody that lives a very interesting life, no? And like, who else would be? I mean, I feel like it should have been Vaughn, but I feel like in a way it could be Melvin Gordon. I feel like Melvin has a very interesting way that he goes about things, but I don't know.
Or like a Josie Jewell on Alone, just out there by himself and a knife.
In a deer stand somewhere. I don't know. He could do something. You know what I mean? Like it could be. I had a teammate in Detroit who's like one of his life goals was to. There's like a public access like fisherman show in Minnesota where he's from, and he wanted to be like the public access fisherman of Minnesota. That was what he wanted to do. I could see Josie doing something like that out in Iowa.
Huh, that's true. Oh yeah, and Weatherly was on on like a glass blowing reality show too, wasn't he? Like he I heard that recently in an interview. He was on like a glass blowing reality show where he was a judge on it. So there's one. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was making glass artifacts, Boggs.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, in order to be a judge on one of these shows, you'd figure that you have to be a master of the craft. I mean, I would rather him a contestant than a judge, unless he has an extensive background of glass blowing.
Yeah.
He does.
So you mentioned you mentioned public access, Graham, and you're from Aurora, Illinois, which is known for one of the most popular public access shows, Wayne's World. So I'm wondering what Wayne's World 1 or Wayne's World 2? What's your favorite?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't seen either fully, but I mean I think that they're both good in the sense of, if they were on, would I watch half of it after I've missed it? Yeah, but like I mean I say one without actually being able to give you a full breakdown of the movie.
Did that have any presence in your town? Like, was that kind of like a claim to fame for that area at all, or not?
I think a lot more people in my area would have rather said that they were from like the city where Kanye West was from than Wayne's World.
Wayne and Garth, yeah.
In the same vein of TV shows then or movies, do you have a current TV show that you've been binging or one recently you just couldn't get enough of?
I don't watch a ton of TV, but I just watched Inventing Anna on Netflix, and I hated it. I hated her. I hated everything about the show, but I couldn't stop watching it because I was like, she has to be lying, and like she was lying, but like the entire time I was just like, she is maybe one of the most unlikable characters in all of TV I think I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I don't think I've ever heard of that show.
I'm going to now.
No, now I know.
I'm gonna watch it now.
No,
I love hating TV characters.
It's not bad, but like it's a very well put together series, but like in regards to the main character being extremely unlikable, it's unmatched.
Interesting.
I have a different during the season, my wife also had me watch Outer Banks, but I couldn't take it seriously because there are no repercussions to anything that they do. The good guys or the bad guys. Everybody lives every single time. It doesn't matter.
Are you you're one of those type of guys where you like break down every movie that you watch? You like pull out every single little thing? Because I do that, and it's ruined my movie watching experience. But I also love it at the same time.
I mean, I think it just helps you. I mean, I like good movies. I like to watch good movies when stuff is just like. I feel like in Outer Banks, if they could have just made it like a season and a half or like one season of 15 episodes and just shored up every single loose end and just made everything fine, it would have been a good TV. But then they decided to just have it keep going on and make more money off it, which is it's sad, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
KB82 wants to know what your favorite Netflix show is. His is Ozark.
I never really got into Ozark, but my mother-in-law likes it. I really like Stranger Things. I think Stranger Things is great TV. I love it. Yeah, I don't know when the next season comes out, but they're coming out with another one.
Should be the end of April. I think we're almost there.
There's 2 parts. Wow. 2 parts. It's gonna get crazy, and they're talking about doing spin-offs as well. It's getting crazy.
That's a little bit too much for my liking. I love the show, but I feel like if they just kind of make it into like a cash grab or something, that's when I usually don't like it.
The Demogorgon moves on up
everywhere,
like up to the uptown, gets an apartment. You know, like you wouldn't want to watch that. Like I feel like that'd be fun. Stranger Things in the City. It'll be good for everybody. I feel like.
Only if it was with Dustin and I can't think of the other guy's name. He used to date. I can't think of her name either right now. In a while. Dustin.
Oh
no. The
Steve.
I think Steve. Dustin and Steve. If they wouldn't got an apartment together somewhere, I'd probably watch it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That'd be a good show.
Johnny keeps asking this. I was gonna say Johnny keeps asking this question. Has texted me to let you know that he wants you to see this question. He wants to see. He's sure you're close with fellow members of the offense, but is there anyone you are very close to on the defense?
I wouldn't say there's anybody who I like go out of my way to hang out with at the like outside of the building. I mean, everybody usually is pretty busy and has their own stuff to do. I mean, it's not like college anymore where you live with like 2 or 3 of the guys and get to hang out with them all the time. But like on the defensive side of things, I have a locker next to Justin Simmons. He's great. I really like Mike Purcell and Shelby Harris. Those guys are also 2 guys who I enjoy talking to. I feel like I can talk to those guys all day. Yeah, I mean, in general, there's a lot of interesting characters on our team. I mean, I don't think it really matters offense or defense, but those are probably the top 3, I'd say.
Which kind of says something when you're going against them every practice, right? Like you're battling against each other.
It makes it almost easier to talk to them if you're going against them all the time, and like you can treat it like it's I mean, like you're out there playing football and it's practice, but like you're both professionals, and I mean, like you have respect for each other, and I think that's just kind of the way that you got to operate.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about your family because it's truly remarkable. I mean, the first of all, the Michigan recruiter must have had like their own parking space in your driveway for one, but the fact that there are 3 kids in your family that have been drafted by the NFL is just astounding, and you led the way. What was that like for you to get drafted, but then to watch your younger brothers both experience the same thing?
Well, before I answer that question, I kind of have to start at the beginning of things, and I mean, I'll fast forward through things, but so I was a walk-on, and then all my other brothers were walk-ons too.
Yeah.
So like it was never the goal when I first went into college that like, you know, there are some kids who like go to college and they're like, man, I want to make the league. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to get a scholarship. So, I mean, it was all just like gradual goal setting. And then once I reached that and then started playing well, it was just, okay, well, I can play in the NFL, I think. And then from there, I mean, and I think that's kind of how it was for all my brothers. And, I mean, seeing them progress and get through their goals at first, which was to earn some playing time and then get scholarships and start playing well was, in my opinion, I was just as proud of them then as I was of them getting drafted. I feel like that in itself was like a big accomplishment. And I mean, everything since then has kind of been like a cherry on top for well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, you know, until I was like really done with everything and when I was done with my career, because I mean, there's a lot to go still, but I mean, at this point in time, I think that it's, as I said, I'm proud of them, and we've accomplished a lot, but we got more to do.
Awesome.
You guys should have a pickup game against the Watts. Just see who would. I think you guys got it. You're all taller, I feel like.
Well, it's funny you say that. Well, I'm the tallest, and my brother Ryan's like 6'3", and then Jordan's like 6 feet.
Yeah.
So it's all pretty. I mean, I think we might have more grit.
Mhm.
They like to say they have grit. I think we got grit.
When you had 3 walk-ons earning scholarships, there's no doubt more grit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
People forget.
So how
people forget though? J.J. Watt was a walk-on after he gave up his scholarship at CMU to go to Wisconsin. But then his other brothers were scholarship guys, so whatever.
So how long have you been doing the Twitch streaming with the gaming?
I have been doing it now for almost like 2 years. I started it out during COVID because there was like a Fortnite tournament, which is what I played a lot at the time. And my brother Ryan and I were really good at Fortnite together. And basically, like in order to compete, you had to stream it.
Yeah.
And this was like in the middle of COVID. It would have been like mid-April of 2020. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just make a Twitch account and do it. And at first, it was just kind of, I mean, it wasn't a joke. I mean, I just did it to compete in the tournament. But then after that, it was just kind of fun. I don't know.
You a PC guy?
I am a PC guy. It gives me a reason to tell my wife that I have to go play video games.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I was really hoping to stream today. The people really like to interact with me, over Twitch. And then I get to go play. So it works.
What's your game of choice?
I play a game called CS:GO. It's on the as I said earlier, it's on the PC. It's kind of like Call of Duty Search and Destroy, but there's a little bit to it. There's a couple wrinkles. I don't want to bore you guys with the details, but it's a fun game.
I mean, is there really that big of a difference between PC, Xbox, and PlayStation?
Oh yes.
Like I'm stuck at like N64 because I suck. Like Fortnite, like my 11-year-old will just wipe the floor with me in Fortnite. Like I'm hiding in a bush and he's got 15 kills. So,
Mike just plays Pong on Atari. I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm not that old.
You should just block with your index finger from all them clicks. Is probably just
GoldenEye on N64. That's my game.
I liked my favorite N64 game. We played it even a lot in college. Was Super Smash Brothers. We would play that all the time.
Yeah, that one's good too.
What was your character? What was your character you like to use?
I always use Donkey Kong.
Oh, you would have been done. You would have been done.
See what I mean?
Yeah. It's all about Samus.
No, you're also done.
Really?
No,
you guys are both done. You're
no
done.
No shot.
Well, Ness was the best character in the game. You guys, I mean, I don't know how advanced you guys were playing, but we took it pretty seriously.
the subtle shot. All right.
I'm not even gonna pick my character because I'm scared of the
What are you?
When I'm playing against my 13 and 11-year-old, I look really good at Super Smash Bros. So I'm just letting you know.
I mean, if I was playing Fortnite against your 11-year-old, I'd box him like a fish. He'd be done. I haven't played in a year and a half. He'd be done.
That's fair.
I'm gonna let him know.
That's fair.
All right.
Isn't Landon in the chat right now?
Yeah,
like my oldest is 13, Landon. He loves Smash Bros. But Wyatt's my 11-year-old. He's the one that's into Fortnite.
Yeah.
And he would smash him.
Well, if it was on N64 with the actual N64 remotes, then yes. But I didn't like the GameCube one very much. I thought there were too many buttons on the GameCube.
GameCube guy.
I don't know. I feel like we're just kind of doing like boomer things right now. I feel like we're all just bitching about the GameCube having too many buttons.
It had too many buttons though. You're not.
I'm so old. I was playing in television, so I can't really chime in on some of these.
Yeah.
Glenn predates video games, so.
Oh, that's.
No, it's
college was all about Tech Mobile
with like an HDMI adapter. So yeah, we play the originals.
Absolutely.
So Graham, going back to the Broncos a little bit, how do you think the makeup of this team?
That's a terrible segue.
Well, I mean,
just
awful
awful.
From N64 to whatever. But just it seemed like the team really had a closeness last year, camaraderie. What did you like the best about last year's version of the Broncos, and what do you predict is going to happen this coming season?
Well, last year, I mean, I think that everybody kind of was a little bit better about what I wouldn't say like people didn't know what to do the year before, but I feel like everybody had a lot better understanding of the offense and knew what to do better and what the adjustments were. So I feel like we were put in better positions a lot of the time. So there's that. And then I feel like I forgot the second part of your question. What was it?
It was just your thought on the upcoming season, and there are a lot of guys. You mentioned Melvin Gordon. Just hopefully he comes back. I mean, we're unanimous in that we'd like him back with the team. But just kind of your outlook on the coming season.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a good year. I think that it's not. I think that there's some things that are out of our control, and I'll leave it at that. But I mean, the way that I see it, if you can put a cohesive team together, I don't see why you can't make the playoffs. So I think that if everybody ends up coming in there with professionalism and wants to play for each other, I think I don't see why not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking another question on, we talked about Vaughn earlier. I mean, he was shocked about that trade. How did the team find out, and what was that short period of time right after that news came out like for the team itself?
I feel like we kind of all figured out around the same time he did. I feel like he kind of told a decent amount of people once he figured it out, because I think he was at the building. But I mean, I feel like it was. I mean, was it a shock? Yes, in a way. But I've also been on other teams where I think I was in Detroit at the time. We were in the same exact predicament where we were, I think, 3-4, or like 4-3 or something, or 4-4, and they traded away like Golden Tate right in the middle of our season for like a 3rd-round pick. So if you're making a good amount of money and you're in a team who views themselves as playoff contenders or Super Bowl contenders, wants to throw good picks at you, I can understand why they would do the trade. So.
Johnny followed up on the Stephen Weatherly glass blowing. It's called Blown Away on Netflix. He was a judge and is an amateur glass blower as a hobby.
Well, I feel really bad for some poor contestant who probably got kicked off the show by an amateur glass blower.
Wow.
That poor guy.
All right. No.
Do you think he wears his? Are those the same goggles that he wears glass blowing?
I don't see why not. I mean, I feel like he wears them almost all the time at the building or on the field.
I really hope that's on his resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Glass blowing and wearing glasses.
Yeah. Absolutely. Side note, I just wanted to question. This isn't going to segue. Do you think you could run your 5-1-3 40 still, or do you think you're at a point where that's not something that you do? Do people prep so much for the combine to get a fast 40 that like they're never going to be able to run that again?
There's like a couple schools of thought on that, and by that I mean there's like, I'd say yes, like 95% of guys do. And then there's like 5% of guys who don't do that and just go to a place where they're like, I'm going to this training facility for like football stuff.
Yeah.
And basically, like, I feel like some of the O-line coaches like take their 40 with a grain of salt because they're like, they didn't train for the 40. But yeah, I could not run that right now. I think, well, I mean, especially right now because I'm rehabbing my ankle. But last year I might have been at like a 5.2. I mean, I don't think it's like a lot worse. But I don't think I mean, a 5.13, kind of hauling. Like,
it's still faster than Tom Brady, who is on Bree's wall behind her. So you're better than that person there. So
is there too much emphasis put on the 40? Do you think? I mean, I remember there was a famous quote when Earl Campbell was playing for the Houston Oilers, and his coach Bum Phillips was asked, like about Earl's poor 40 time, and Bum said, well, when it's 3rd and 40, I won't give it to Earl then, so just what's your thought on those types of statistics?
Well, I think that the 40-yard dash could be good for like some positions. Like I feel like it'd be good for wide receivers, DBs, some stuff like that. I mean, even I guess you could even say running backs in some situations. And I guess linebackers is too. I feel like linebackers have to cover the field a lot of the time, right? They have to run sideline to sideline.
Yep.
Right.
So for them it'd be good, but I mean for quarterbacks and I honestly fullback should also probably run the 40 because a lot of those guys do special teams, and the same with tight ends.
Yeah.
But for quarterbacks and D linemen and offensive linemen, I think you should really only run like 20 yards. I mean, like a 20-yard dash can tell you everything you need to know about a guy.
Yeah.
If he has a slow 20, I can guarantee you he's gonna have a slow as shit 40. Like it's not gonna. He doesn't need to run an extra 20.
It's not ramping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's the just because this guy takes 25 yards to get to max speed doesn't. I mean, his 40 is still gonna be bad. Like, come on.
Graham, when you're not rehabbing your ankle, obviously, and when you're not streaming on Twitch with video games, do you have other hobbies that you like to partake in? Are you outdoorsy since you're in Colorado? Or what do you fill your time with if you're not watching any TV?
A lot of the time my wife and I had a baby a couple months ago.
Congratulations. Awesome.
So we have a baby girl at home here, so I've been spending a lot of my time with that, and it's been a lot of fun. Outside of the first month where she could have given a shit if I lived or died.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. But yeah, good.
You're enjoying fatherhood then, I take it.
Yeah, it's been a good time.
Good.
That's good, man.
Yeah, fatherhood's fun up until you get to a certain point of kids, and it's like, all right.
He has like 13, I think.
I have 6.
13 and a half. Oh, that's close enough, I feel.
But I have seen you trying to, I wouldn't say deal with, but game and try to keep your daughter as quiet as you can while you're gaming. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, if she's acting up, then I can't play well, and then she's not happy, and then I'm also not happy. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, to be said, she's usually pretty well behaved, as long as I can like be turned like sideways at the desk while like pedaling her with like my off foot, which is. But then I usually play bad, which usually makes me mad while she's asleep. But it's whatever.
That's why Amazon lists those. They got those little rocker things that are just Bluetooth. You just Bluetooth them, and they have different motions. They go in. That's why you get those, and you can stay and play them video games.
We have one upstairs, but she doesn't really like it.
No,
she would rather.
I was gonna say, says the guy who has no kids is like telling.
I know, but I'm gonna in like the next year or so, and I had that in my list, and I was excited about it. But now Graham Glasgow from the Denver Broncos is telling me that it doesn't work. What am I supposed to do with my life? You know what I mean?
It does work sometimes, but sometimes they just like to be rocked manually. Because I mean, I don't know. You'll see one day.
So do they have the comfy in baby sizes?
I think they have it in children's sizes. Yeah.
You can just tuck her right in there.
Yeah, it's called a blanket.
I was gonna say, the blanket does a good job for the baby.
The burrito. Yeah.
I don't think it's socially acceptable for an adult to wear a blanket out to like CVS or something. You know what I mean?
The bubble wrap that'd
be pretty damn weird. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Especially not a starter in the NFL for sure.
Well, they don't know that. They don't know that.
So you came out of college as a center and are now playing guard. Do you prefer guard or do you prefer center? Or do you not care?
I don't really care. I think that there's positives and negatives to both. I think that center is a little bit more mentally challenging, while guard is just a little bit harder physically. But as I said, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same.
Okay.
You have to remember the coach's name if you're center, though.
You have to remember the coach's name whether you're a center, a guard, or a tackle. Typically,
that's fair. All right.
So, do you think there should be more emphasis put on pro days then, and less on the combine?
No, I think that they should just change the combine to where you have your like. I was saying this earlier today that I think that if they just moved the actual time where you're out there on the field like to like day 2 after you've done your medicals and you've like weighed in, I feel like it would make so much sense to do it then. And then, I mean, if like a team was waiting on somebody to have a good combine or see like good numbers before they talk to them, or like, you know what I mean, if they were iffy about somebody, and they had to talk to them before they even worked out anyways, but then their workout was like god awful, and they don't want them, then they just wasted their own time. I feel like it would just be easier. I mean, I know, like, I understand how logistically challenged the NFL and a lot of organizations are, but like, I feel like for everybody, it would make more sense to do it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And not have you guys run the 40 because it makes no sense.
Well, I mean, at least they don't make us run the I think there's like a 5-back, 10-back, 15-back. I think they only make the skill position and special teams guys like run that, which is
that's true.
Yeah.
So,
well, Graham, I know that you're a super busy guy, and we had you for a limited amount of time. How about we do one more question, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get you back to your baby girl.
What's your favorite color?
I like blue actually, but I got some GQ upstairs that I need to get back to.
Oh, okay. Did I ruin it? Did I ruin the last question?
No, it's fine. Okay,
that was a great
last
question.
real question. What's the last real one?
Glenn, you had one.
So I was KB82 in our stream said, how excited are you for Javonte in his second season? He seems to have big seasons in the future.
I mean, I feel like he did a really good job last year. I think that if he can take like the next step forward, and I mean, because he has like great balance and he can run through guys, he can run around guys. If he can work on, I mean, it's hard for me to say because like I'm just an offensive lineman. What the hell do I know? But if he could like read, like I feel like he has some good reads, but I mean, I feel like if he was more consistently reading the right thing every single time,
yeah,
I feel like he'd be maybe the best running back in the NFL. But don't use that as actually. I take that back. Actually, I don't take that back, but don't clickbait.
Got it.
Swear to God,
No clickbait.
I mean, there.
Oh,
Don't clip it.
We
I feel
don't.
like he could be like a top 5 running back in the NFL.
Absolutely.
If he consistently reads the right thing based on the look and the blocks that he sees us doing. I mean, we can see.
Yeah, and as a rookie, like you expect nothing less of him growing into that anyway. So like he's going to be awesome.
Okay, cool,
Awesome.
All right. So that is going to about do it for us. We appreciate you so much
for
joining us on the show. It was absolutely fantastic. Where do you want people to find you on Twitch when you're live streaming, or do you want them to?
You can stop by, say hello if you want. If not, that's fine. I mean, I don't, I kept a little PG here. I usually don't do that because things usually piss me off. So if you don't want to hear somebody swearing, don't come on in. But G Glasgow, I mean, if you go to my Twitter, you can find me there. But yeah, just that's about it.
Well, again, we want to thank you so much. Make sure everybody checks out our other podcasts that we have going on. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Something just fell and hit me, and I don't know what it was. It was a picture. Now I don't know where I was. Yeah, go ahead and follow us on there. Hit the subscribe notifications so you can follow us and know when we go live on anything. Now, I don't even know where he just went. Johnny would kill me if I didn't have you join us in a Mile High Five. You ever heard of that?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, so it's pretty easy. You put your arms out to the side, we yell Mile High Five, and then you clap above your head. It's pretty simple.
That looks like Skull from the Vikings.
Yeah, it does.
That's what I kept saying. But his goal is to get everybody to do it in the stadium at Empower Field. So we're gonna.
And then we'll say Skull.
No, we say
Skull.
nay,
Skull.
like nay, like it's a horse instead.
So we'll do the Mile High Five, and then we'll do the little outro thing. And then if you want to hang out, you're more than welcome to hang out. If you need to go, be my guest and go, my friend.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you, Graham.
No problem.
All righty, arms out to the side, and we say Mile High Five.
We did it, guys.
Done. Pretty simple.
Okay. Take it easy.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, man.
See you guys.
Thank you.
That was super duper fun. I don't know where Glenn went. I don't really care.
I don't really miss him.
Nope.
So
Glenn, nope. I'm not bringing you back in. We're out. See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.